When the king's letters are not ready for him at 12 o'clock, a secretary loses his job.
Yes, devil take you. Why did you start me talking before I'd finished my work? You have nothing to do but pretend to read the newspapers for him. And when you say nothing particular this morning, sir, all he says is thank heavens. But if I missed a note from one of his aunts inviting herself to tea, or a little line from Orinthia the Beloved marked strictly private and confidential to be opened by His Majesty alone, I should never hear the end of it. He had 6 anonymous love letters yesterday. And all he said when I told him was, take them to the Queen. He thinks they amuse her. I believe they make her as sick as they make me.
Do Orinthia's letters go to the Queen?
No, by George. Even I don't read Orinthia's letters. My instructions are to read everything, but I take care to forget to open hers, and I notice I'm not rebuked for my negligence.
I suppose you know
Oh, do shut up, Pam. I shall never get through if you keep on talking.
I was only going to say, I suppose you...
Something about Orinthia. Oh, well, don't. If you indulge in supposition on that subject, you will lose your job, old chap, so stow it.
Oh, don't cry out before Orinthia's hut, young chap. I was going to say, I suppose you know that bull roarer Boanerges has been taken into the cabinet as president of the Board of Trade, and that he's coming here today to give the king a piece of his mind, or what he calls his mind, on the crisis.
What does the king care about the crisis? There has been a crisis every 2 months since he came to the throne, but he's always been too clever for them. He'll turn Boanerges inside out, after letting him roar the palace down.
Will you wait in here, sir, please?
Huh?
Look here. The king has an appointment with me at 11:45. How long more am I to be kept waiting?
Good morning. Mr. Boanerges, I think.
Oh, good morning. They say politeness is the punctuality of kings.
The other way about, Mr. Boanerges. Punctuality is the politeness of kings, and King Magnus is a model in that respect. Your arrival cannot have been announced to His Majesty. I will see about it.
Be seated, Mr. Boanerges.
Nice lot of young upstarts you've got in this palace, Mr.
Pamphilius is my name.
You're one of the king's private secretaries.
I am. And what have our young upstarts been doing to you, Mr. Boanerges?
Well, I told one of them to go and tell the king I was here and look sharp about it. He looked at me as though I was a performing elephant and took himself off.
Young rascal. But my friend, Mr. Sempronius, will make it all right for you.
That was Sempronius, was it? I've heard about him.
You'll be quite at home in the palace now that you're a cabinet minister. Oh, may I congratulate you on your appointment? Or rather, congratulate the cabinet on your accession.
The king.
You are very welcome to my little palace, Mr. Boanerges. Won't you sit down?
I am sitting down.
True, Mr. Boanerges. I have not noticed. Forgive me, force of habit. You will allow me to be seated.
Oh, sit down, man, sit down. You're in your own house. Ceremony cuts no ice with me.
Thank you. It is a great pleasure to meet you at last, Mr. Boanerges. I have followed your career with interest ever since you contested Northampton 25 years ago.
I should just think you have, King Magnus. I've made you sit up once or twice, eh?
Your voice has shaken the throne oftener than that.
What about these two? Are they to overhear everything that passes?
My private secretaries, do they incommode you?
Oh, they don't incommode me. I'm ready to have our talk out in Trafalgar Square, if you like, or have it broadcast on the wireless.
Oh, that would be a treat for my people, Mr. Boanerges.
Yes, but you realize I'm going to say things to you that have never been said to a king before.
I thought I had heard everything that could possibly be said to a king. I shall be grateful for the smallest novelty.
Yes, well, it won't be very agreeable, I warn you. I'm a plain man, Magnus, a very plain man.
Oh, not at all, I assure you.
I was not alluding to my personal appearance.
Oh, neither was I. Do not deceive yourself, Miss Boanerges. You are very far from being a plain man. To me, you have always been an enigma.
Well, perhaps I am a bit of an enigma. Perhaps I am.
Oh, I wish I could see through you, Mr. Bonerges, but I have not your sort of cleverness. I can only ask you to be frank with me.
You mean the crisis? Well, Frank is just what I've come here to be. This country has got to be governed not by you, but by your ministers.
I shall be very grateful to them for taking a very difficult and thankless task off my hands.
But it's not on your hands, it's on your ministers' hands. You are only a constitutional monarch. You know what they call that in Belgium?
An India rubber stamp, I think. Am I right?
You are quite right, King. An India rubber stamp. That is what you've got to be, and don't you forget it.
Yes, that is what we are most of the time. Both of us.
What do you mean, both of
Well,
us?
they send us papers, we sign. Oh, you have no time to read them, luckily for you. But even if I do not agree, I must sign. There is nothing else to be done.
Nobody is going to make an India rubber stamp out of Bill Bonerges. Take that from me.
But the India rubber stamp theory breaks down in any real emergency because no king or minister is the very least little bit like a stamp. He is a living soul.
A soul, eh? You kings still believe in that, I suppose.
I find the word convenient. It is short and familiar. But if you dislike being called a soul, let us say that you are animate matter as distinguished from inanimate.
Well, call it a soul if you must, but not in any superstitious sense, if you understand me.
Perfectly. So you see, Mr. Bonerges, that though we have been dealing with one another for less than 10 minutes, you have already drawn me into an intellectual discussion which shows that we are something more than a pair of India rubber stamps. You are up against my brains, such as they are.
And you're up against mine,
Oh, there can be no doubt of that.
such as they are.
Oh, it is not for me to make that distinction, except in my own case. Besides, you have given your proofs. No common man could have risen as you have done. As for me, I am the king because I am the nephew of my uncle and because my two elder brothers died. If I had been the stupidest man in the country, I would still be its king. I did not win my position by merit. If I had been, as you were, born in the
gutter. Go on, out with it. Picked up by a policeman at the foot of Captain Corum's statue. Adopted by the policeman's grandmother, bless her.
Now, where would I have been if that policeman had picked me up?
Where? Not that you mightn't have done pretty well for yourself. You're no fool, Magnus, I'll say that for you.
Oh, you flatter me.
Flatter a king, never. Not Bill Bonerges.
Oh, yes, everybody flatters the king. But not everyone has your tact and, may I say, your good nature.
Oh, well, perhaps not. I am a Republican, you know.
Yes, that is something that has always surprised me. Do you really think that any man should have the personal power that the presidents of the Republican states have? Ambitious kings envy them.
What's that? I don't follow that.
You cannot humbug me, Mr. Bonerges. I know why you are a Republican. If the English people send me packing and establish a republic, no man has a better chance of becoming first British president than you.
Oh, I don't say that.
Oh, come. You know it as well as I do. And if it happens, you will have 10 times more power than I have ever had. But while the monarchy lasts, mark you, I am very secure. I escape the dreary drudgery of electioneering. I have no voters to please. Ministers come and ministers go, but I go on forever. The terrible precariousness of your position.
What's that? How's my position precarious?
Oh, the vote may go against you. Yours is a trade union seat, is it not? If the Hydroelectric Workers' Federation throw you over, where would you be?
They won't throw me over. You don't know the workers, Magnus. Well, you've never been a worker. No king on earth is as safe in his job as a trades union official. There's only one thing can get him the sack. That's drink. Not even that, as long as he doesn't actually fall down. I talk democracy to these men and women. I tell them they have the vote. and that theirs is the kingdom and the power and the glory, I say to them, you are supreme. Exercise your power. They say, that's right. Tell us what to do. And I tell them, I say, exercise your vote intelligently by voting for me. And they do. That's democracy. And a splendid thing it is, too, for putting the right man in the right place.
Magnificent. I have never heard it better described. You certainly have a head on you, Mr. Boanerges.
Well,
you should write an essay on democracy.
Pa, I can't find
Oh, no, my dear, not now. Go away. I'm particularly engaged with the president of the Board of Trade. Forgive my unruly daughter, Mr. Boanerges. May I present her to you? This is Alice, my eldest girl. Mr. Boanerges, dear.
Oh, are you the great Mr. Boanerges?
well, I don't call myself that, you know, but I believe the expression is in use, as you might say. I'm very pleased to make the acquaintance of the Princess Royal.
Why do you wear such awful clothes, Mr. Boanerges?
My dear.
Well, I can't go out walking with him in that.
It's a uniform of labor, Your Royal Highness. I'm very proud of it.
Oh, I know all that, Mr. Boanerges. But you don't look the part, you know. Anyone can see that you belong naturally to the governing class.
Well, perhaps in a way. But I have earned me bread by my hands, you know. Not as a laborer, though. No, I'm a skilled mechanic. Or I was until my country called on me to lead it.
I'm afraid you have broken up a very interesting conversation, my dear. It's no use of trying to go on now, Mr. Boanerges. I shall have to go and find what my daughter wants, though I suspect that what she really came in for was to see my wonderful new minister. We shall meet again presently. You know that the Prime Minister is calling on me today with some of his colleagues, including, I hope, yourself, to discuss the crisis. You will excuse us, won't you?
That's all right. That's quite all right. Well, say what you will, the king's no fool. Well, not when you know how to handle him.
Of course, that makes all the difference.
And the girl hasn't been spoiled. I was glad to see that. She doesn't seem to know she's the Princess Royal.
Well, she wouldn't dream of giving herself any airs with you.
What's that? Isn't she always like that?
No, it's not everyone who is received as you have been. I hope you've enjoyed your visit.
Well, I pulled Magnus through it pretty well. Eh? Don't you think so?
He was pleased. You have a way with you, Mr. President.
Yes, well, perhaps I have. Perhaps I have.
Morning. Hello. Holy snakes! Look at Bill! Go home and get yourself property, man. Where do you think you are? Who do you think you are?
Where did you buy it, Bill?
Who do you think you are, the lot of you?
No, never mind them, Bill. They're jealous because they didn't think of it themselves. How did you get on with the king?
Oh, right as rain. You leave the king to me. I know how to handle him. If I'd been in the cabinet these last few months, there wouldn't have been any crisis.
He put you through it, did he?
He put me through it. What is this, a police office?
The third degree is not unknown in this palace, my boy. Did the matron take a hand?
No, but the Princess Alice happened to drop in. She was greatly impressed by the president.
Hell are you laughing?
Take no notice of them, Bill. They're only having a bit of fun with you as a newcomer. Come on, lads, enough of fooling. Let's get to business. Let's start with you chaps. You fully realise that though we wiped out every other party at the last election, been in power now for the last 3 years, that this country has been governed during that time by the king.
I don't see that. We
Well,
have
if you
considered...
don't, then for heaven's sake, either resign and get out of the way of men who can see the facts and look them in the face, or else take my job and lead the party yourself.
The worst of you is that you won't face the fact that though you're Prime Minister, you're not God Almighty. The king can't do anything except what we advise him to do. How can he govern the country if we have all the power and he has not?
Ah, don't talk silly, Nick. This inter-rubber stamp theory doesn't work. The king is a live man. One more of you, with all your blessed advice.
No, but he's as artful as the very devil. He'll have a pin to stick into the seat of every man of you. And if you all start quarrelling, scolding and bawling, which is just what he wants you to do, it'll end in his having his own way as usual. Because one man that has a mind and knows it can always beat 10 men who haven't and don't.
Steady, Prime Minister, you're overwrought.
Oh, it's enough to drive a man mad, I'm sorry.
Where's Mandy?
Anderson.
Late as usual. Come on, business, business, business.
Order. Order.
Now, the king is working to press against us. The king is making speeches. Now, things have come to a head because he said yesterday at the opening of the new Chamber of Commerce building that the king's veto is the only remaining defense of the people against corrupt legislation.
Well, so it is, by jingo. What other defense is there? Democracy? We know what democracy is worth. What we need is a strong man.
Yourself, for
Well, I would
instance?
stand a better chance than you, my lad, if we were a republic and the people could choose. And let me tell you that the president of a republic has more power than a king. Because the people know that they need a strong man to protect them against the rich.
Well, this is a nice thing. 2 Labour papers have leading articles this morning supporting the king, and the latest addition to the cabinet here is a king's man. I resign.
No,
it's no use. I resign.
Not a king's man.
You can all go to the devil. I've lost my health. I've almost lost my reason. Trying to keep this cabinet together in the face of the cunningest enemy the popular government has ever had to face. Now, I've had enough of it. I resign.
But not at such a moment as this. Well, don't let us swap horses when crossing a stream.
Why not, if the horse you have got is subject to hysterics?
Not to mention that you may have more than one horse at your disposal.
No, that's right, you are perfectly true. Take my job, Nick. It's vacant for you, Bill. I wish you joy of it.
Boys, be good. We can't make another cabinet before Magnus comes in. You have something in your briefcase, Joe. Out with it. Read it to them.
Well, what I was going to propose, and you can take it or leave it, is an ultimatum.
Good.
Now, either he signs this, or...
Or what?
Ah, you made me sick.
You're sick already, by your own account. I only ask, supposing he refuses to sign your ultimatum.
Holy Smoke, the cabinet minister, he can't answer that.
No, I can't. I pressed my question. You said he must sign or. I ask or what?
Or we resign and tell the country that we can't carry on the king's government under conditions which destroy our responsibility.
That'll do it. He couldn't face that.
Yes, that'll bunker him.
Now, is that agreed?
Yes,
Yes, agreed.
I retain an open mind. Let us hear this ultimatum.
Yes, let's hear it.
Memorandum of understanding.
Welcome, gentlemen. I hope I'm not too early. Am I intruding?
I protest, it's intolerable. I call a conference of my cabinet to consider our position in regard to the prerogative, and I find the 2 lady members, the Postmistress General, the Prime Mistress General, closeted with your majesty.
You mind your own business, Joe.
Oh, no, my dear Leicester, you mustn't take that line. Our business is to meddle in everybody's business. Prime Minister is a busybody by profession. So is a monarch. So are we all.
Well, they say everybody's business is nobody's business, which is just what Joe is fit for.
And this is what I have to put up with when I'm on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
Oh, Joe, don't make a scene. You asked for it, you know.
What do you go provoking Lizzie for like that? You know she has a temper.
There's nothing whatever wrong with my temper. But I'm not going to stand for any of Joe's nonsense.
Let us respect ourselves and respect the throne. All this Joe and Bill and Nick and Lizzie might as well be hobnobbing in a fried fish shop. The Prime Minister is the Prime Minister. He isn't Joe. The Prime Minister General isn't Lizzie. She's Lysistrata.
Certainly not, Bill. She is Lysistrata. You'd better say Lizzie. It's easier to pronounce.
Lice. Never heard a more foolish affectation in my life. You might as well call me Boanerges.
Shall we sit, ladies?
Oh, there you are.
Mandy. Pardon me, I should have said Amanda.
Don't mention it, darling.
Order.
Prime Minister, the word is with you. Why have you all simultaneously given me the great pleasure of exercising your constitutional right of access to the sovereign?
Have I that right, sir, or haven't I?
Most undoubtedly you have.
You hear that, Joe?
I call...
Oh, for heaven's sake, don't contradict her, Joe. We shall never get anywhere at this rate. Now, come to the crisis.
Yes, the crisis.
The ultimatum. Now, let's have the ultimatum.
Oh, there is an ultimatum. I read in yesterday's evening newspaper about a crisis, another crisis. But the ultimatum is new to me. Do you have an ultimatum?
Your Majesty's allusion to the royal veto in a speech yesterday has brought matters to a head.
That was perhaps indelicate. But you all allude so freely to your own powers, the supremacy of Parliament, the voice of the people, and so forth, that I'm afraid I may have lost any little delicacy I may have possessed. If you may flourish your thunderbolts, May I not shoulder my little pop gun of a veto and strut up and down with it for a moment?
This is not a subject for jesting.
Oh, I assure you, I am not jesting, Mr. Knickerbocker. But I am trying to discuss our differences in a good-humoured manner. Do you wish me to lose my temper and make scenes?
Oh, please, no, Your Majesty. We get enough of that from Joe.
I protest. I never lose
Take
my
care,
temper.
Prime Minister, take care. Do not let your wily Postmistress General provoke you to supply the evidence against yourself.
All right, I thank Your Majesty for the caution. The Postmistress General has never forgiven me for not making her First Lady of the Admiralty. She's 3 nephews in the Navy.
Oh, you...
Gently, Amanda, gently. 3 very promising lads. They do you credit.
I never wanted them to go to sea. I could have got them better jobs in the post office.
And now, apart from Amanda's family relations, do I find myself face to face with a united cabinet?
No, sir. You are face to face with a squabbling cabinet. But on the constitutional question, united we stand and divided we fall.
That is so.
What is the constitutional question? Do you deny the royal veto? Or do you object only to my reminding my subjects of its existence?
What we say is that the king has no right to remind his subjects of anything constitutional except by the advice of the Prime Minister, and in words which he has read and approved.
Which Prime Minister? There are so many of them in this cabinet.
There. Serves you all right, aren't you ashamed?
If His Majesty wants a cabinet of dumb dogs, he'll not get it from my party.
Heaven forbid! The variety of opinion in this cabinet is always most instructive and interesting. Who is to be its spokesman today?
Yes, I know Your Majesty's opinion of me, but let me assure
Let me state it quite frankly. My opinion of you is that no man knows better when to speak and when to let others speak for him, when to make scenes and threaten resignation, and when to be as cool as a cucumber.
Well, I hope I'm not such a fool as some fools think me. I may not always keep my temper, but you wouldn't be surprised at that if you knew just how much temper I have to keep. However, at this moment, my cue is to show you not my own temper, but the temper of my cabinet. Now, if we are to carry on your government, we cannot have you making speeches that express your own opinions and not ours. We cannot have you implying that everything that's of any value in our legislation is your doing and not ours. We cannot have you telling people that they are only a safeguard against the political encroachments of big business while we are doing nothing but bungling and squabbling is your part of the veto. Now, it's got to stop once for all.
Here, Joe.
Far clearer than I would ever have dared to put it. Oh, except, by the way, on one point. When you say that all the things of which you complain must stop once for all, does that mean that henceforth I am to agree with you, or you with me?
I mean that when you disagree with us, you're to keep your disagreement to yourself.
That would be a very heavy responsibility. If I see you leading the nation over the edge of a precipice, may I not warn it?
But it's our business to warn it, not yours.
But suppose you do not do your business. Suppose you do not see the danger. It has happened. It may happen again.
As Democrats, I think we're bound to proceed on the assumption that such a thing cannot happen.
Rot. It's happening all the time till somebody's got the gumption to put his foot down and stop it.
Yes, I know, but that is not democracy.
Democracy be... I've had 30 years' experience of democracy. Well, so have most of you. I'll say no more.
Well, to make democracy work Cassius's way, we need poverty and hardship.
Listen, we've abolished poverty and hardship. That's why the people trust us, and that's why you'll have to give way to us. Because we have the people of England in comfort, solid, middle-class comfort at our backs.
No. We have not abolished poverty and hardship. Our big businessmen have abolished them. But how? By sending all our capital abroad to countries where poverty and hardship still exists. In other words, where labor is cheap. We live in comfort on the imported profits of that capital.
Well, what more do you want?
You surely don't grudge us our wonderful prosperity, sir?
Well, the more I see of a prosperity which depends on your leaving our vital industries to big businessmen, so long as they keep your constituents quiet with high wages, the more I feel I was sitting on a volcano.
Hear, hear. My department was perfectly able and ready to deal with the supply of power from the tides in the north of Scotland, and you gave it away like the boobs you are to the Pentland Firth Syndicate. A gang of foreign capitalists who will make billions out of it at the people's expense while we are bungling and squabbling. Crassus worked that. His uncle is chairman.
A lie, a flat lie. He is not related to me. He's only my stepson's father-in-law.
Now, I demand an explanation of the words bungling and squabbling. We've had quite enough of them here today. Now, who are you getting at? It was not I who bungled the factory bill, you know. I found it on my desk when I took office with all His Majesty's suggestions in the margin, and you know it.
Have you all done playing straight into His Majesty's hand and making my position here impossible? Now sit down. The question before us is not one of manners or our abilities. His Majesty will not press that question, because if he did, he would oblige us to raise the question of his own morals.
What? Am I supposed to take that threat seriously?
Well, if you try to prejudice what is a purely constitutional question, it'll be easy enough for us to throw your mud back. In this conflict, we are the challengers. You have the choice of weapons. Now, if you choose scandal, we shall take you on at that. Personally, I shall deploy it if you do, because no good will come of washing our dirty linen in public. But don't make any mistake as to what will happen. I'll be plain with you. I'll dot the I's, cross the T's. You will say that Crassus is a jobber.
Hey!
So sit down, leave this to me.
Chop.
You will say that I should never have given the Home Office to a bully like Balbus.
Now, look here, Joe.
You shut up, Bert, it's true. Well, now, what will happen? There'll be no denials, no excuses, no vindications. We shall not fall into that trap, clever as you are at setting it. Crassus will say just simply that you are a free thinker. And Balbus will say that you are a libertine. Now, King Magnus, our cards are on the table. What have you to say?
Admirably put. People ask how, with so many strong men around you, you still hold your own as the only possible Prime Minister, in spite of your hysterics and tantrums, your secretiveness, and your appalling laziness.
Yeah. You're getting in now, Joe.
But when your decisive moment comes, they find out what a wonderful man you are.
No, I'm not a wonderful man. Not a man or woman here whose job I could do as well as they do it. No, I'm Prime Minister for the same reason that all Prime Ministers have been Prime Ministers, because I'm good for nothing else. But I can keep to the point when it suits me. And I can keep you to the point, sir, whether it suits you or not.
At least you do not flatter kings. Well, I suppose I must surrender. I am beaten. You are all too clever for me.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
Are you all drunk? You are at present engaged in a tug of war with the king, a tug of your lives. Now, you think you've won, but you haven't. All that's happened is the king has let go the rope. You're sprawling on your backs, and he's laughing at you. Look at him.
Come to my rescue, Amanda. It was you set me off.
You've got me so nicely, sir. Bill, you are a great boob.
I don't understand this. I understood the king to have given way to us in, I must say, the handsomest manner. Can't we take our victory like gentlemen?
Perhaps I'd better explain. I quite appreciate the frank and magnanimous spirit, may I say the very English spirit, in which you have received my little concession. But in truth, it leaves matters just where they were. I should never have dared to enter a campaign of recrimination such as the Prime Minister has suggested. As he has pointed out, my own character is far too vulnerable. A king is not allowed the luxury of a good character. This country has produced millions of blameless greengrocers, but not one blameless monarch.
Your Majesty's private affairs do not concern us in any case.
No, His Majesty's speeches are very wise and interesting. But the ultimatum's here all the time. And I shall not leave this room until I have His Majesty's signed pledge that its conditions will be observed.
What are its terms?
First, no more royal speeches.
What? Not even if you dictate them?
Not even if we dictate them. Your Majesty has a way of unrolling a manuscript and winking.
Winking?
You know what I mean. The best speech in the world can be read in such a way as to set the audience laughing at it. Now, we've had enough of it, so in future, no speeches.
A dumb king.
Well, of course, we cannot object to such speeches as we declare this foundation stone well and truly laid and so forth. But politically, yes, a dumb king.
A constitutional king.
A dumb king.
What next?
The working of the press from the palace backstairs must cease.
Oh, but you know I have no power over the press. The press is in the hands of men far richer than I.
Oh, we know that, but they're not cleverer. They get amusing articles spiced with exclusive backstairs information that don't seem to them to have anything to do with politics.
Am I supposed to write these articles?
Your man Sempronius does. I can spot his fist out of 50 columns.
So can I. When he's getting at me, he always begins the sentence with, singularly enough.
That's his trademark, singularly enough.
Is there to be no restriction on the other side? I have noticed, for example, that in a certain newspaper, which loses no opportunity in disparaging the crown, the last sentence of the leading article almost invariably begins with the words, once for all. Whose trademark is that?
Mine.
Frank, Mr. Proteus.
Well, I know when to be frank. I learned that trick from Your Majesty. Now, His Majesty asks whether the restriction on press campaigning is to be entirely one-sided. That, I take it, is your question. Well, the answer's in the affirmative.
Good.
Anything more?
Yes, one thing more. The veto has not been mentioned again. That can apply to both sides, if you like, but the veto is dead.
May we not make historical reference to its cause?
No. I cannot carry on the King's government unless I can give pledges and carry them out. Now, what is my pledge worth if our constituents are reminded every day that the King may veto anything the Parliament does? Do you expect me to say when I'm asked for a pledge, you must ask the King?
I have to say you must ask the Prime Minister.
That's the Constitution, you know.
Oh, yes. I only mention it to show that the Prime Minister does not really wish to kill the veto. He simply wishes to move it to next door.
Well, the people live next door, and the name on the brass plate is public opinion.
Admirably turned, but unreal. I am far more subject to public opinion than you, because such is the general belief in democracy that you can always pretend that everything that you do is done by the will of the people who, God knows, never dreamt of it and wouldn't have understood it if they had. Whereas, for everything that a king does, he, and he alone, is responsible. A demagogue may steal a horse where a king dare not even look over a hedge.
I doubt if that is any longer true, sir. I know that I get blamed for everything that goes wrong in my department.
Ah, but what a despot you are, Lassiterita. But granted that the people have long ago realized that democracy is humbug, and that far from establishing responsible government, they have abolished it, you do see what this means.
Steady, steady. No, I cannot sit here and listen to a word like humbug being applied to democracy. I'm sorry, sir, but due respect to you, but I really must draw the line at that.
You are quite right, Mr. Bonerges, as you always are. Democracy is a very real thing with far less humbug about it than many older institutions. But it means not that the people govern, but that the responsibility and the veto belong neither to kings nor demagogues as such, but to whoever is clever enough to get them.
Yourself, sir, for example?
Well, I think I'm in the running. That is why I am unwilling to accept your ultimatum. By signing it, I put myself out of the running. Why should I?
Because you're the king, that is why.
Does that follow?
If two men ride the same horse, one must ride behind.
Which?
What was that you said?
I said which. You said that if two men rode the same horse, one of them must ride behind. I said which. Which man must ride behind? Got it, Joe?
But that is exactly the question that has to be settled here and now.
Once for all.
I will not stand this perpetual tomfooling. I'd rather be a dog than the Prime Minister of a country where the only things the inhabitants can be serious about are football and refreshments. Well, lick the King's boots, that's all you're fit for.
Oh, really? Well, you've done it now, Mandy, and I hope you're proud of yourself.
It is you, Amanda, who should go and coax him back. I suppose I shall have to do it, as usual. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
I told you we would come of conducting a conference with His Majesty, as though it were a smoking concert. Well, I'm disgusted.
Just call it the old fox. Then Amanda must have a silly laugh and lets him out of it.
What are we to do now?
That is what I want to know.
Well, I think we should have a little community scene.
Take it easy, friends. Joe knows what he's about.
Of course he does. I can excuse you, Bill, because it's your first day in the cabinet. But if the rest of you haven't found out by this time that Joe's rages are invariably calculated, then nothing will ever teach you anything.
I know I'm a beginner, madam. Everything must have a beginning. But I'm open to conviction and argument. The Prime Minister brought this conference in what I must admit was a very resolute and able manner to the verge of a decision. Then, in a fit of childish temper, he breaks up the conference, leaving us looking like fools and nothing done, and you tell me he did it on purpose. Where was the advantage to him in such a display? Answer me that.
He's settling the whole business with the king behind our backs. That is what Joe always contrives to do, by hook or crook.
You didn't arrange it with him, did you, Mandy?
There was no need to arrange it. Joe can always depend on one or other of us saying something that'll give him an excuse to fly out.
In my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, we have done our bit and may leave the rest to Joe. Matters had reached a point at which it was yes or no between the Cabinet and the Crown. Well, there's only one sort of committee that's better than a committee of two, and that is a committee of one. Well, like the family in Wordsworth's poem, we are 7.
8.
Well, 7 or 8, we were too many for the final grapple. 2 persons sticking to the point, worth 8 all over the shop. So my advice is that we should just sit here quietly until Joe comes back and tells us what's been settled. Perhaps Amanda would oblige with a song.
No, thank you.
The Prime Minister has been good enough to pursue the discussion with me in private to the point at which the issue is now clear. Either I will accept the ultimatum, or I will receive your resignations and his. That the country will learn from his explanatory speech to the House of Commons that it is to choose between cabinet government and monarchical government, an issue which I may frankly say I should be very sorry to win, because I cannot carry on without the support of a body of ministers whose existence gives the English people the sensation of self-government. Naturally, I wish to avert a conflict in which success would damage me and failure disable me. But you tell me I cannot do so without signing pledges which would make me a mere Lord Chamberlain. I should sink below the level of the meanest of my subjects, my sole privilege being that of being shot at when some victim of misgovernment resorts to assassination to avenge himself. But how can I defend myself? You are many. I oppose you single-handed. There was a time when a king could depend on the support of the aristocracy and the cultivated bourgeoisie. Today, there is not a single aristocrat left in politics, not a single member of the professions, not a single leading personage in big business or finance. Oh, they are richer than ever, more powerful than ever, more able, better educated than ever. But not one of them will touch this drudgery of government. Our work is no longer even respected. Indeed, it is looked down on by our men of genius as dirty work. What great actor would exchange his stage? What great barrister his court? What great preacher his pulpit? For the squalor of the political arena in which we have to struggle with foolish factions in Parliament and ignorant voters in the constituencies. Politics, once the center of attraction for ability, public spirit, and ambition, has now become the refuge of a few fanciers of public speaking and party intrigue who find all other avenues to distinction closed to them either by their lack of practical ability, their comparative poverty or lack of education, or, let me hasten to add, by their hatred of injustice and oppression, and their contempt for the chicaneries and false pretenses of commercialized professionalism. History tells us of a gentleman statesman who said that such people were not fit to govern. Within a year, it was discovered that they were at least as able to govern as anybody else who was willing to take on the job. Do not misunderstand me. I do not want the old governing class back. They governed so selfishly that the people would have perished if democracy had not swept it out of politics. But evil, as it was in many ways, at least it stood above the tyranny of popular ignorance and popular poverty. Today, only the king stands above that tyranny. You are dangerously subject to it. And if I do not stand above it, there is no longer any reason for my existence at all. I stand for the future and past, for the posterity that has no vote, and for the tradition that never had any. I stand for the great abstractions, for conscience and virtue, for the eternal against the expedient, for the evolutionary appetite against the day's gluttony, for intellectual integrity, for humanity, for the rescue of industry from commercialism and of science from professionalism, for all the things that you desire as sincerely as I, but which in you is held in leash by the power of the press, which can organize against you the oppression and intrigue, the timidity and credulity, the gullibility and prudery, the hunting and hating instincts of the voting mob, and cast you down from power if you dare to utter a single word to alarm or displease the adventurers who have the press in their pockets. Between you and that tyranny stands the throne. Think of the things you dare not do, the people you dare not offend. But while you continue to support me as an independent and separate estate of the realm, I am your scapegoat. You get the credit for all our popular legislation, while you can put the odium of all our resistance to ignorant popular clamor on me. And so, I ask you, before you play your last card and destroy me, consider what you will do without me. Think once. Think twice. For your danger is not that I will defeat you, but that your success is certain, if you insist.
Splendid.
Oh, you did speak that piece beautifully, sir.
It's all very well, but what about my brother-in-law, Mike?
Oh, confound your brother-in-law, Mike. I beg your pardon, sir, but really, at a moment like this...
If I had not put my foot down, Mr. Balbus, the Prime Minister would have been unable to keep your brother-in-law out of the cabinet.
Then why should he not be in the cabinet?
Booze, my Barbie, booze. Raising the elbow.
Who says so?
I do, darling.
Oh, well, it might surprise you all to know that Mike doesn't drink as much as I do.
You carry it better, Bert.
Mike never knows when to stop.
Time for Mike to stop is before he begins, if you ask me.
What sort of animals are you, you men? The king puts before us the most serious question of principle we shall ever have to deal with. And if you start discussing whether this drunken wretch takes honest whiskey like Balbus or methylated spirit or petrol or whatever he can lay his hands on when the fit takes him.
Yes. Well, now, I agree with that. What's the matter what Mike drinks? Huh? What's the matter whether he drinks or not? Mike would strengthen the cabinet because he represents Breakages Limited, which is the biggest industrial corporation in the country.
Just so. Breakages Limited, just so. Listen to me, sir, and judge whether I have not reason to feel everything you have just said to the very marrow of my bones. Here am I, the Power Mistress Royal. I have to organize and administer all the motor power in the country for the good of the country. I have to harness the winds and the tides, the oils and the coal seams. I do it. But it costs twice as much as it should. Why? Because all the new inventions are bought up and suppressed by Breakages Limited. Every breakdown, every accident, every smash and crash is a job for them. But for them, we should have unbreakable glass, unbreakable steel, imperishable materials of all sorts. Our national repair bill runs into hundreds of millions. I could name you a dozen inventions within my own term of office which would have affected enormous economies in breakages and breakdowns, but these people can afford to pay an inventor more for his machine or his process or whatever it may be than he can hope to make by a legitimate use of it. And when they have bought it, they smother it. I have been shot at twice by inventors driven crazy by this sort of thing. They've blamed me for it. As if I could stand up against this monster with its millions and its newspapers and its fingers in every pie. It is heartbreaking. I love my department. I dream of nothing but its efficiency. With me, it comes before every personal tie, every happiness that common women run after. But what can I do? If I said one word of this in public, not a week would pass in the next 2 years without an article on the inefficiency and corruption of all government departments, especially departments managed like mine by females. If I tend to fight them, I should be hounded out of public life, and they will shove Mouldy Mike into the cabinet to take over my department in their interests. That is, to make such a failure of it that Joe will have to sell it to Breakages Limited at scrap iron prices. It is beyond bearing.
Now, you hear that, sir? Your one supporter in the cabinet admits that the industrial situation is too strong for her. I do not pretend to be able to control the women in my cabinet, but not one of them dare support you.
What's that? Not dare? What do you better? Don't go down to Mouldy Mike's constituency and say everything that Lizzie said and a great deal more too, if I choose. I tell you, Breakages Limited never interferes in my department. I'd like to catch them at it.
I'm afraid that is because the efficiency of the post office is as important to them as it is to the general public.
Oh, stuff. They could get rid of me without shutting up the post office. No, they're afraid of me. Of me, Amanda Postlethwaite.
You coax them, I'm afraid.
Coax? What? Do that not care for coaxing? No use coaxing. They can get all the coaxing they want from younger and prettier women than I by paying for it. No use coaxing them. Intimidate them. I'm ready to handle them.
I wish I could intimidate them.
But what can Amanda do that you cannot do?
Well, I'll tell you. She can't mimic people and she can't sing funny songs. I can do both. And that, with respect, sir, makes me the real Queen of England.
Oh, come, disgraceful shame.
If you provoke me, Bill, I'll have you out of your constituency inside 2 months.
You will. How?
The same way as I drove the chairman of Breakages out of my own constituency when he went down there and tried to take my seat away from me.
I've never quite understood why he turned tail. How did you do it?
Well, I'll tell you. You see, he opened his campaign with a great Saturday night speech against me in the Home Lovers Hall to 5,000 people. In that same hall, the very next week, I had to face a meeting of the very same people. Now, I didn't argue. I mimicked him. I took the most highfalutin passages from his speech and repeated them in his best manner. So the whole 5,000 of them were laughing at him. And then when I asked them, did they want me to sing to them, Their yes nearly lifted the roof off. I had two songs, you see. They both had choruses. The first one was, oh, she lets me go out on a Saturday night, on a Saturday night, on a Saturday night. Like that, you see. And the other one was, like, boo-hoo, I want Amanda's teddy bear to play with. It was lovely. They sang it under the windows of his hotel. Next time he came, he cancelled the meeting and left. And that is how England is governed by yours truly, sir. Lucky for England that Queen Amanda's a good sort, in spite of a few surface faults.
Lucky for England, there's only one of you. That's what I say.
Should not the Queen support the King, Your Majesty?
I'm sorry, sir. There isn't room in my realm for two monarchs. I am against you on principle because the talent for mimicry is not hereditary.
No. Now, is there anybody else? We've heard how the two ladies cannot support the king. Is anybody who can?
I see that my appeal has been in vain. I do not reproach you, ladies and gentlemen, because I perceive your situation as a difficult one. The question is how to change it.
Sign the ultimatum. That is how.
No, I'm not quite convinced of that. The Home Secretary's brother-in-law was perfectly willing to sign the pledge of total abstinence if I would admit him into the cabinet. This was not accepted because, though none of us doubted that he would sign the pledge, we were not equally certain that the infirmities of his nature would allow him to keep it. My nature, too, suffers from infirmity. Are you quite satisfied, Mr. Proteus, that even if I sign this pledge, I shall not inevitably relapse into the conduct that my nature dictates?
What is the use of going on like this? You're like a man on the scaffold, spinning out his prayers to put off the inevitable execution as long as possible. Nothing you can say will make any difference. You know you must sign, so why not sign and have done with it?
Now you're talking, Joe.
That's the stuff to give him.
Gulp it down, sir. It won't get any sweeter by keeping what?
For God's sake, sign, sir. This is torture to me.
I perceive that I have come to the end of your patience. I will tax it no further. You've been very forbearing, and I thank you for it. I will say no more by way of further discussion, but I must have until 5 o'clock this evening to come to my decision. If at that time I can find no other way out, I will sign it without another word. So, meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, au revoir.
Who is that?
His Majesty the King.
I don't want to see him.
How soon will you be disengaged?
I didn't say I was engaged. Tell the king I don't want to see him.
It waits your pleasure.
Go away. I won't speak to you. If my rooms are to be broken into at any moment because they're in the palace, then the king is not a gentleman. I must take a house elsewhere. I am writing to the agents about one now.
What is our quarrel today, beloved?
Ask your conscience.
Oh, I have none when you are concerned. You must tell me.
There.
What is this?
Page 16. Look at it.
Songs of our great-great-grandparents. What page did you say?
16.
Ah, the Pilgrim of Love.
Read the first 3 words, if you dare.
Orinthia, my beloved.
The name you pretended to invent, especially for me, the only woman in the world for you picked up out of the rubbish basket in a second-hand bookseller's, and I thought you were a poet.
Well, one poet may consecrate a name for another. Orinthia is a name full of magic for me. It could not be so if I had invented it myself. I heard it at a concert of ancient music when I was a child, and I've treasured it ever since.
You always have a pretty excuse. You are the king of liars and humbugs. You cannot understand how a falsehood like that wounds me.
Oh, beloved, I am sorry.
Put your hands in your pockets. They shall not touch me ever again.
Do not pretend to be hurt unless you really are, dearest. It wrings my heart.
Since when have you set up a heart? Did you buy that too, second-hand?
I don't know, but there is something in me that winces when you are hurt, or pretend to be.
Yes. I have only to squeal and you will run and pick me up and pet me as you would a puppy run over by a car. That is what you give me. When my heart demands love, I had rather you kicked me.
I should like to kick you sometimes when you're specially aggravating, but I shouldn't do it well. I should be afraid of hurting you all the time.
I believe you would sign my death warrant without turning a hair.
It is wonderful how subtle your mind is, as far as it goes.
It does not go as far as yours, I suppose.
I don't know. Our minds seem to go together halfway. But whether it is that your mind stops there, or that there is a fork in the road, and you take the high road and I take the low road, I cannot tell. But we seem to lose each other somehow.
And then you go back to your Amandas and Lysistrators, creatures whose idea of romance is a minister in love with a department.
Oh, if Lysistrata had a lover, I shouldn't be interested in him in the least. But I'm very much interested in her department. Her devotion to it gives us a topic of endless interest.
Well, go to her. I am not detaining you. But don't tell her that I have nothing to talk about but men, for that is a lie, and you know it.
It is, as you say, a lie, and I know it. But I didn't say it.
You implied it. You meant it. When those ridiculous political women are with us, you talk to them all the time, and you never say a word to me.
Nor you to me. But we cannot talk to one another in public. We have nothing to say to each other that can be said in front of others. But we seem to have plenty to say to each other when we are alone together. Now, would you change that if you could?
You are as slippery as an eel, but you shall not slip through my fingers. Why do you surround yourself with bores and frumps and dowdy busybodies who can't talk? They can only debate about their dull departments and their fads and their election chances. I mean, who could talk to such people? If it were not for the non-entities of wives and husbands they drag about with them, there would be nobody to talk to at all, and even they can talk about nothing but the servants and the baby. Listen to me, Magnus. Why can't you be a real king?
In what way, belovedest?
Send all those stupid people packing, make them do their drudgeries in their departments without bothering you about them, as you make your servants here sweep the floors and dust the furniture. Live a really noble and beautiful life. A kingly life. With me. What you need to make you a real king is a real queen.
But I've got one.
Oh, you are blind. You are worse than blind. You have low tastes. Heaven is offering you a rose, and you cling to a cabbage.
A very apt metaphor. But what wise man, if you forced him to choose between doing without roses and doing without cabbages, would not secure the cabbages? Besides, all these old married cabbages were roses once, and though young people like you don't remember this, their husbands do. They haven't changed to them. Besides, no one should know better than you that when a man grows tired of his wife and leaves her, it is never because she's lost her good looks. The new love is often older and uglier than the old.
Why should I know better than anyone else?
Because you've been married twice, and both your husbands have run off with much plainer and stupider women. Your present husband, when I begged him to come to the court for a while for the sake of appearances, said that no man could call his soul his own in the same house with you.
Shall I tell you why these men could not live with me? It was because I am a thoroughbred and they were only hacks. They had nothing against me. I was perfectly faithful to them. I kept their houses beautifully. I fed them better than they have ever been fed in their lives. But because I was higher than they were and greater, they could not stand the strain of trying to live up to me. So I let them go their way, poor wretches, back to their cabbages. I mean, look at that old creature Ignatius is living with now. She gives you his real measure.
An excellent woman. Ignatius is quite happy with her. I've never seen a man so changed.
Just what he is fit for, commonplace, bourgeois. She trots through the streets, shopping. I tread the plains of heaven. Common women cannot come where I am, and common men find themselves out and slink away.
It must be magnificent to have the consciousness of a goddess without ever doing a thing to justify it.
Give me a goddess's work to do, and I will do it. I will even stoop to a queen's work, if you will share the throne with me. But do not pretend that people become great by doing great things. They do great things because they are great, if the great things come along. But they are great just the same when the great things do not come along. If I never did anything but sit in this room and powder my nose and tell you what a clever fool you are, I should still be heavens high above the millions of common women who do their domestic duty and sacrifice themselves and run trade departments and all the rest of the vulgarities. Has the tedious public work you have done made you any the better? I have seen you before and after your boasted strokes of policy, and you were the same man, and would have been the same man to me and to yourself if you had never done them. Thank God my self-consciousness is something nobler than vulgar conceit in having done something. It is what I am, not what I do, that you must worship in me. If you want deeds, go to your men and women of action, as you call them, who are all in a conspiracy to pretend that the mechanical things they do, the foolhardy way they risk their worthless lives, or they're getting up in the morning at 4 o'clock, working 16 hours a day for 30 years like coral insects, make them great. What are they for, these dull slaves? To keep the streets swept for me. To enable me to reign over them in beauty, like the stars, without having anything to do with their dull slavery, except to console it, to dazzle it, to enable them to forget it in adoring dreams of me. Am not I worth it? Look into my eyes and tell me the truth. Am I worth it or not?
To me, who love beauty, yes. But you should hear the speeches Balbus makes about your pension.
And my debts. And do not forget my debts. The bill of sale on my furniture, the thousands I have had from the moneylenders to save me from going broke because I will not borrow from my friends. Lecture me again about them. But do not dare to pretend that the people grudge me my pension. They glory in it and in my extravagance, as you call it.
Oh, by the way, Orinthia, when your dressmakers took up that last account for you, they were speculating, were they not, in the chances of your becoming my queen someday?
Well, what if they were?
They would hardly have ventured on that without a hint from somebody. Was it from you?
You think me capable of that? You have a very low side to you, Magnus.
No doubt. Like other mortal fabric, I have a wrong side and a right side. But do not give yourself airs, belovedest. You are capable of anything. Do you deny that there was a suggestion of some kind?
How dare you challenge me to deny it? I never deny. Of course there was a suggestion of the kind.
I thought so.
Oh, stupid, stupid. Go keep a grocer's shop. That is all you are fit for. Do you suppose that the suggestion came from me? Why, you great oaf, it is in the air. When my dressmaker hinted at it, I told her that if she ever dared to repeat such a thing again, she would never get another order from me. But can I help people seeing what is as plain as the sun in the heavens? Everyone knows I am the real queen. Everyone treats me as the real queen. They cheer me in the streets. If I open an art exhibition or launch a new ship, they crowd the place out. I am one of nature's queens, and they know it. If you do not, you are not one of nature's kings.
Sublime. Only genuine inspiration could give a woman such cheek.
Yes, inspiration, not cheap. Listen to me, Magnus. When are you going to face my destiny and your own?
But my wife, the Queen, what is to become of my poor dear Jemima?
Oh, drown her. Shoot her. Tell your chauffeur to drive her into the Serpentine and leave her there. The woman makes you ridiculous.
I don't think I should like that. And the public would think it ill-natured.
Oh, you know what I mean. Divorce her. Make her divorce you. It's quite easy. That was how Ronnie married me. Everyone does it when they want to change.
But I can't imagine what I would do without Jemima.
Nobody else can imagine what you do with her. But you have no need to do without her. You can see her as often as you like after we are married. I shall not be jealous and make scenes.
That is very magnanimous of you, beloved, but it doesn't really settle the difficulty. Jemima would not think it right to keep up her present intimacy with me if I were married to you.
What a woman. Would she be in any worse position than I am in now?
No.
You mean then that you do not mind placing me in a position you do not think good enough for her?
Rinthia, I did not place you in your present position. You placed yourself in it. I couldn't resist you. You gathered me like a daisy.
Did you want to resist me?
Oh, no, I never resist temptation, because I have found that things that are bad for me do not tempt me.
Well, then, what are we talking about?
I forget. I think I was trying to explain the impossibility of my wife changing places with you.
Why? Impossible, pray.
Oh, I cannot make you understand. You see, you have never really been married, although you have led 2 captives to the altar and borne children to one of them. Being your husband is simply a job, which one man may do as well as another, and which the last man holds on 6 months' notice from the divorce court. Being my wife is something quite different. The smallest derogation to Jemima's dignity would hit me like a lash of a whip across the face. About yours, somehow, I do not care a rap.
Nothing can derogate from my dignity. It is divine. Hers is only a convention. That is why you tremble when it is challenged.
Not a bit. She belongs to my real workaday self. You belong to fairyland.
Suppose she dies. Will you die too?
Not immediately. I suppose I shall have to carry on somehow without her, although the prospect terrifies me.
Might not carrying on without her include marrying me?
My dear Arithia, I'd rather marry the devil. Being a wife is not your job.
You think so because you have no imagination. And you don't really know me because I have never really let you possess me. I could make you more happy than any man has ever yet been on earth.
I defy you to make me more happy than our strangely innocent relation has already made me.
Oh, you talk like a child or a saint. I could show you a new life, one of which you have no conception. I could give you beautiful, lovely children. Have you ever seen a lovelier boy than my Basil?
Your children are beautiful, but they are fairy children, and I have several very real ones already. A divorce will not sweep them out of the way of the fairies.
In short, when your golden moment comes, when the gates of heaven open before you, you are afraid to come out of your pigsty.
If I am a pigsty is the proper place for me.
I cannot understand it. All men are fools and moral cowards when you come to know them. But you are less of a fool and less of a moral coward than any man I have ever known. You have almost the makings of a first-rate woman in you.
Ah.
When I leave this earth and soar up to the eternal regions which are my real home, you can follow me. I can speak to you as I can speak to no one else. And you can say things to me that will just make your stupid wife cry. There is more of me in you than any other man within my reach. There is more of me in you than any other woman within your reach. We are meant for one another. It is written across the sky that you and I are queen and king. How can you hesitate? What attraction is there for you in your healthy, jolly lumps of children and your common housekeeper wife and the rest of the rabble of dowdies and upstarts and intriguers and clowns who think that they are governing this country when they are only squabbling with you? Look at me again, man. Again and again. Am not I worth it? Am not I worth 1,000,000 such? Is not life with me as high above them as is the sun above the gutter?
Oh, yes, 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 you are lovely. You are divine. And you are enormously amusing. Someday, perhaps, nature will graft the roses onto the cabbages and make every woman as enchanting as you. And then what a glorious lark life will be. But at present, what I enjoy is to come here talking to you like this when I need an hour's respite from royalty. When my stupid wife is worrying me, and my jolly lumps of children are bothering me, and my turbulent cabinet is obstructing me. When, as the doctors would say, what I need is a change. You see, my dear, there is no wife on earth so precious, no children so jolly, no cabinet so tactful, that it is impossible ever to get tired of them. Jemima has her limitations, as you have observed, and so have I mine. Now, if our limitations exactly corresponded, I should never want to speak to anybody else, and neither would she. But as it can never be like that, we are like all other married couples. That is, there are certain subjects that we never discuss between us because they are sore subjects. There are certain people that we avoid mentioning to one another because one of us likes them and the other doesn't. And not only individuals, but whole sorts of people. Your sort, for example. My wife doesn't like your sort, doesn't understand it, mistrusts and dreads it. And with good reason, for you are dangerous to wives. But I don't dislike your sort. I understand it, being a little in that line myself. At all events, I am not afraid of it, although the least mention of it brings a cloud across my wife's face. So whenever I want to enjoy talking about it, I come and talk to you. And I dare say that she talks to her friends about people that she never speaks of to me. If she didn't, she would be limited by my limitations. She would end by hating me. And that's why I always make her men friends feel at home with us.
A model husband in a model household, and when the model household becomes a bore, I am the diversion.
But what else can you expect to be? Do not make the common mistake of expecting to become one flesh and one spirit. Every star has its own orbit. We too also have our own orbits. And we must keep an infinite distance between us to avoid a disastrous collision. Keeping our distance is the essence of good manners. And without good manners, human society would be intolerable and impossible.
Would any other woman stand your sermons and even like them?
We are just two children at play. And you must be content to be my queen in fairyland. And I must get back to my work.
What work can you possibly have that is more important than being here with me?
None.
Then sit down.
Impossible. This silly business of government has to be carried on. There is a crisis this evening, as usual.
The crisis is not until 5 o'clock. I heard all about it from Sempronius. Why do you encourage that greedy schemer, Proteus? He humbugs you. He humbugs everybody. He even humbugs himself. And, of course, he humbugs that cabinet, which is a disgrace to you. It is like an overcrowded third-class carriage. Why do you allow such riffraff to waste your time? After all, what are you paid for? To be the king, that is, to wipe your boots on common people.
Yes, but this king business, as the Americans call it, has got itself so mixed up with democracy that half the country is waiting for me to wipe my perfectly polished boots on the cabinet, and the other half is waiting for the cabinet to wipe its muddy boots on me. The crisis at 5 is to decide which of us is to be the doormat.
And will you condescend to fight with Proteus for power?
Oh, no, I never fight, but I sometimes win.
If you allow yourself to be beaten by that trickster and poser, never dare to approach me again.
Oh, Proteus is a clever fellow, even on occasions a fine fellow. It would give me no pleasure to beat him. I hate beating people. But there might be a little innocent fun in outwitting him.
Magnus, you are a mollycoddle. If you were a real man, you would just delight in beating him to a jelly.
No real man can ever be a king. I am only an idol, my love. And all I can hope is to draw the line at being a cruel idol. And now I really must be off. Au revoir.
It is only 25 minutes past 4. You have heaps of time before 5.
Yes, but tea is at 4:30.
And never mind your tea. I will give you your tea.
Impossible. Jemima doesn't like to be kept waiting.
Oh, bother Jemima. You shall not leave me to go to Jemima.
But I must.
No, not today. Listen, Magnus, I have something very particular to say to you.
No, you haven't. You're just trying to make me late to annoy my wife. Please let me go.
Why are you so afraid of your wife? You are the laughingstock of London, you poor henpecked darling.
Henpecked? What do you call this? Oh, at least she doesn't restrain me by bodily violence. Please let me go.
I will not be deserted for your old Dutch.
Oh, Arinthia. Oh, don't be absurd. You know I must go. Do be good.
No, only 10 minutes more.
But it is 4:30 already. Must I call the guard?
Do. It'll be in all the papers tomorrow.
Fiend. Arinthia, I command you. You she-devil. Very well, you shall let me go. Oh.
Why did you tell them to leave the chairs when they took away the tea?
I shall receive the cabinet here.
Yeah, why?
I think the open air and the evening light will have a quieting effect on them. They can make speeches at me less easily than in a room.
Are you sure? When Robert asked Boanerges where he learned to speak so beautifully, he said in Hyde Park.
Ah, yes, but with a crowd to stimulate him.
Robert says you have tamed Boanerges.
Oh, no. I've not tamed him. But I have taught him how to behave. I have to valet all the beginners. But that doesn't tame them. It simply teaches them how to use their strength instead of wasting it making fools of themselves.
You get no thanks for it. I think you are only humbugging.
Ah, yes, but only in the elementary lessons. When it comes to real business, humbug is no use. They'd pick it up themselves too easily. Oh, good heavens. They haven't come, have they? It's not 5 yet.
No, sir. It's the American ambassador.
Has he an audience?
No, ma'am. He's rather excited about something. I think I can't get anything out of him. He says he must see His Majesty at once.
Must. An American must see the king at once without an audience. Well,
Send him in, Pam.
I should have told him to write for an audience and kept him waiting a week for it.
What? With that old war debt we still owe America, and that mad imperialist Bosfield for a president? No, you wouldn't, my dear. You would be crawlingly civil to him, as I am going to be, confound him.
His Excellency, the American Ambassador, Mr. Van Hatten.
Oh. What on earth is the matter, Mr. Van Hatten? You are shaking Her Majesty's rings off.
Her Majesty will excuse me when she learns the nature of my errand here. King Magnus, this is a great historic scene. One of the greatest, perhaps, that history has ever recorded, or will ever again record.
Have you had tea?
Tea? Who can think of tea at such a moment as this?
It is hard for us to share your enthusiasm in complete ignorance of its cause.
That is true, ma'am. Just behaving like a crazy man. But you shall hear, you shall judge, and then you shall say whether I exaggerate the importance, the immensity of an occasion that cannot be exaggerated.
Goodness gracious. Won't you sit down?
I think, thank you, Majesty.
You have some exciting news for us, apparently. Is it private or official?
No, official, sir. No mistake about it. What I have to tell you is authentic. From the United States of America to the British Empire.
Perhaps I had better go.
Oh, no, ma'am, you shall not go. Whatever may be the limits of your privileges as the consort of your sovereign, it is your right as an Englishwoman to learn what I have come here to communicate.
My dear Mr. Van Hatten, what the devil is the matter?
King Magnus, between your country and mine, there is a debt.
Oh, does that matter when our capitalists have invested so heavily in American concerns?
You are aware, sir, that at one time the United States of America formed a part of your empire.
There is a tradition to that effect.
It's no mere tradition, sir. An undoubted historical fact. In the 18th century...
Now, that was a long time ago.
Centuries count for but little in the lifetimes of great nations, sir. Let me recall the parable of the prodigal son.
Oh, my dear Mr. Van Hatten, that was a very, very long time ago. I take it that something important has happened since yesterday.
Oh, it has indeed, King Magnus.
Then what is it?
The king has a cabinet meeting in 10 minutes, Mr. Van Hatten.
Oh, I should like to see the faces of your cabinet ministers when they hear what I have to tell you.
So should I, but I shall not be in a position to tell it to them because I don't know what it is.
The prodigal, sir, has returned to his father's house. Not poor, not hungry, not ragged as of old, oh no. This time he returns, bringing with him the riches of the earth to the ancestral home.
You don't mean to
I do
say...
The Declaration of Independence is cancelled. The treaties which endorsed it are torn up. We have decided to rejoin the British Commonwealth. We shall, of course, enjoy Dominion Home Rule under the presidency of Mr. Bosfield. I shall revisit you here shortly, not as the ambassador of a foreign power, but as High Commissioner for the greatest of your dominions, and your very loyal and devoted subject, sir.
The devil you will.
What a splendid thing, Mr. Van Hatten.
I thought your Majesty would say so. It is the most splendid thing that has ever happened.
Don't you think so, Magnus?
Perhaps I should have mentioned that one of our conditions will be that you shall be emperor. King may be good enough for this little island, but if we come in, we shall require something grander.
But the continental powers. Do you imagine for one moment that they will agree to such a change in the balance of power?
Why not? The change would be only nominal.
Nominal? You call an amalgamation between the United States of America and the British Empire a nominal change? What will France and Germany say?
France and Germany? These queer old geographical expressions you use here from old family habit do not trouble us. I suppose you mean by Germany the chain of more or less Soviet republics between the Ural Mountains and the North Sea. Well, the clever people at Moscow and Berlin and Geneva are trying to federate them. And it is fully understood between us that if we do not object to their move, they will not object to ours. France, by which I take it you mean the government at New Timgad, they're too busy in Africa to fuss about what is happening at the ends of your little channel tube. So long as Paris is full of Americans, and Americans are full of money, all's well in the West from the French point of view. One of the great attractions of Paris for Americans is the excursion to Old England. The French want us to feel at home here, so we do. Why shouldn't we? After all, we are at home here.
In what sense, may I ask?
Well, we find here everything we are accustomed to. Our industrial products, our books, our plays, our sports, our Christian Science churches, our osteopaths, our movies. Put it in a small parcel, say our goods, our ideas. A political union with us would just be the official recognition of an already accomplished fact. Union of hearts, you might call it.
You forget, Mr. Van Hatten, we have a great national tradition.
The United States, ma'am, have absorbed all the great national traditions and blended them with their own glorious tradition of freedom into something that is unique and universal.
We have a civilized culture that is peculiar to ourselves. It may not be better than yours, but it is different.
Well, is it? We found that culture enshrined in British material works of art, in the stately country homes of your nobility, in the cathedrals built by our common forefathers as the country houses of God. What did you do with them? You sold them to us. I was brought up in the shade of Ely Cathedral, the removal of which from the county of Cambridge to New Jersey was my dear old father's first big professional job. The building which stands on its former site is a very fine one. In my opinion, the best example of reinforced concrete of its kind. But it was designed by an American architect and built by the Synthetic Building Materials Trust, an international affair. Believe me, the English people, the real English people who take things as they come instead of reading books about them, will be more at home with us than they are with the old English notions which our tourists try to keep alive. When you see some country gentleman trying to keep up the old customs at Christmas and so forth, who is he? An American who has bought the place. Your people get up the show for him because he pays for it. It's not because it's natural to them.
I must think over this. I have known for some time past that this was on the cards. Indeed, when I was young and under the influence of our family tradition, which of course never recognized that the rebellion of the American colonies was valid, I actually dreamt of a united English-speaking empire at the head of civilization.
Fine, great. And now come true.
Not yet. Now that I am older and wiser, I find the reality less attractive than the dream.
Is that what I am to report to the president, sir? You'll be a little disappointed. I'm a little taken aback myself.
For the moment, that is all. This may be a great idea.
Oh, surely, surely.
But it may be a trap in which Britain will perish.
Oh, sir, I wouldn't think of it like that. Nothing. Not even dear old England can last forever. It's progress, you know, sir. Progress, progress.
Just so, just so. We may survive as just another star on your flag, but we do cling to the little scrap of individuality that you have left us. If we must merge, as you call it, or did you say submerge? Some of us will swim to the last, my dear. I cannot give you my answer until after the cabinet meets, but not tonight. You must not sit up waiting for a message. Tomorrow early, I hope. Thank you for giving me the news before the papers got it. That so seldom happens nowadays. Pamphilius, you will reconduct His Excellency. Oh. Good evening.
I thank Your Majesty. Good evening, ma'am. I look forward to presenting myself in court dress very soon.
You will look very nice in it, Mr. Van Hatten. Good evening.
The scoundrels! That booby bull-roarer Bosfield. Breakages Limited have taken it into their heads to mend the British Empire.
I think it is a very good thing. You will make a very good emperor. We shall civilize these Americans.
What? When we have not yet civilized ourselves? To them, we are a mere tribe of redskins. England will be just a reservation.
Nonsense, dear. They know we are their natural superiors. You can tell by the way their women behave at court. They really love and reverence royalty. While our English peeresses are hardly civil when they condescend to come at all.
Well, my dear, I do many things to please you that I should never do to please myself. And I suppose I shall end as American Emperor, just to keep you amused.
I never desire anything that is not good for you, Magnus. You do not always know what is good for you.
Well, 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 well. Have it your own way, dearest. Oh, where are these infernal ministers? They're late.
No, they're at the Downing Street helicopters now.
May I present the President of the Board of Trade, Mr. Bonerges?
I remember seeing you, Mr. Bonerges, at the opening of the Transport Workers' Summer Palace. You wore a most becoming costume then. I hope you have not given it up.
But the princess told me I looked ridiculous in it.
That was very naughty of the princess. You look particularly well in it. However, you look well in anything. And now I leave you all to your labors.
Be seated, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice weather we're having these evenings.
There is a rather threatening cloud on the western horizon, Mr. Penny. The news from America?
Yes, I have, sir.
Am I to be favoured with the advice of my ministers on the subject?
By Your Majesty's leave, we'll take the question of the ultimatum first.
Does the ultimatum really matter when the capital of the British Empire is about to be shifted to Washington?
We'll see it shifted to Melbourne or Montreal first.
Well, it will not stay there. It will stay in the real centre of gravity only.
Well, we're agreed about that. If it shifts at all, it'll shift either west to Washington or east to Moscow.
Moscow thinks a lot of itself, but what can Moscow teach us that we can't teach ourselves? Moscow is built on English history, written in London by Karl Marx.
Yes, and the English king has sidetracked you again. Now, what about the ultimatum, sir? You promised us your decision by 5 o'clock. It's now 1:15.
Are you inexorably determined to force this issue to its logical end? You know that that is a very un-English thing to do.
My people came from Scotland.
I wish they'd stayed there. I'm English. Every bone in my body.
Same here.
Well, God help England if she'd no Scots to think for.
What does your cabinet say to that?
All their people came from Scotland or Ireland or Wales or Jerusalem or somewhere, sir. It's no use appealing to English sentiment here.
Politics are not suited to the English, if you ask me.
Then I, the only Englishman left in politics, apparently, am to be reduced to complete nullity.
Yes. Yes, you cannot frighten us out of our position by painting it red. I could paint your position black if I liked, but in plain terms. We require from you an unconditional surrender. Now, if you refuse it, then I go to the country on the question whether England is to be an absolute monarchy or a constitutional one. Now, all agreed on that. There'll be no resignations. So I've letters from the absent members of the government. Those present will speak for themselves.
Indeed.
Now, what is your answer?
The day of absolute monarchies is past. You think you can do without me. I know that I cannot do without you. I decide, of course, in favor of constitutional monarchy. Wait a moment.
That was a catch in it, is it?
Well, not exactly a catch. But you have forced me to face the fact that I am unfitted to be a constitutional monarch. I am incapable of the necessary self-effacement.
Oh, well, that's true at all events. You and I are a pair, sir.
Thank you. So, while I accept your constitutional principle without the slightest reserve, I find that I am unable to sign your ultimatum because by doing so, I should have to make personal promises, which I know I should break, which indeed I must break because I have forces within me which your constitutional limits cannot hold in check.
Well, how can you accept our principle if you don't sign the ultimatum?
There is no difficulty about that. When an honest man finds himself incapable of discharging the duties of a public post, he resigns.
Resigns? What are you driving at?
A king cannot resign.
You might as well talk of beheading yourself. You can't behead yourself.
Other people can. Oh, do not let us argue about words, gentlemen. No, no. I cannot resign. But I can abdicate.
Abdicate?
That's right. Abdicate. Lysistrata, you have been a teacher of history. You can assure your colleagues that there is nothing unprecedented in abdication. The Emperor Charles V, for instance.
Oh, Charles V, be bothered. He's not good enough. Sir, I have stood by you as far as I dared. Don't throw me over. You must not abdicate.
You cannot abdicate except by my advice.
But I am acting on your advice.
Nonsense.
Ridiculous.
You're not serious, you know.
You can't upset the apple cart like this.
I must say that this is not playing the game.
Well, why not? Why not? Though as an old Republican, I have no respect for His Majesty as a king. I have a great respect for him as a strong man. But he isn't the only pebble on the beach. Why not have done with this superstition of monarchy and bring the British Empire into line with all the other great powers today as a republic?
My abdication does not involve that, Mr. Boanerges. I am abdicating to save the monarchy, not to destroy it. I shall be succeeded by my son, Robert, Prince of Wales. He will make an admirable constitutional monarch.
Oh, come now, don't be hard on the lad, sir. He has plenty of brains.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. He's by no means an nonentity. Far from it. In fact, he is far cleverer than I am. But I can never get him to take an interest in parliamentary politics. He prefers intellectual pursuits.
Don't you believe it? He's up to his neck in business.
Just so. He can never understand why I waste so much of my time here with you pretending to govern the country when in reality it is governed by Breakages Limited. And really, I hardly know how to answer him.
Things are like that nowadays. My son says just the same.
Personally, I get on very well with the prince. But somehow I do not feel that he is interested in what I'm doing.
But he isn't. He won't interfere with you as long as you don't interfere with him. Oh, he's just the right king for us, you know. Not pig-headed, not meddlesome. Thinks that nothing we do matters a rap. What do you say, Joe?
Well, after all, why not, if your Majesty's in earnest?
Oh, I assure you I am very much in earnest.
Confess I did not foresee this turn of events, but I ought to have foreseen it. Because what your Majesty proposes is a straightforward, logical, intellectually honest solution of our difficulty. Consequently, it's the last solution I could have expected in politics. I reckon without your Majesty's character. Now, the more I think of it, the more clearly I see that you are right, that you're taking the only course open to you.
I never said I was against it, Joe.
Neither did I.
I think there's a great deal to be said for it. I have no objection.
One king is no worse than another, is he?
But is he any better?
The way you fellows shuttle backwards and forwards from one mind to another whenever Joe holds his finger up is disgusting. It's a cabinet of sheep.
Well, give the flock a better lead if you can. Have you anything else to propose?
Can't say I have on the spur of the moment. I should have had notice of this. I expect the king will do what he thinks right.
Then the goat goes with the sheep, so that's all right.
And who are you calling a goat?
If you come to that, who are you calling sheep? Wow.
Steady, children, children. Steady, steady. You've brought us all round again, Your Majesty, as usual.
There's nothing more to be said.
That means another half hour at least.
Woman, this is no time for your tomfooleries.
It is right, Commander. It's a solemn moment. It's a moment when an old tie is being broken. I'm not ashamed to confess that it is a tie from which I have learned something.
Yeah.
For my own part, and I think I may speak for others here as well, there's been no mere political tie, but a tie of sincere friendship.
Absolutely.
We've had our disagreements, as which of us has not, but they have been family quarrels.
That's all. Nothing more.
May I say, lovers' quarrels.
You may, Joe. You may.
My friends, we came here to a meeting. We find, alas, that the meeting is to be a leave-taking. It will be a sad leave-taking on our part, but a cordial one.
Yeah.
We're cast down, but not discouraged. Looking back to the past with regret, we can still look forward to the future with hope. Now, that future has its dangers and its difficulties. It'll bring us new problems. It'll bring us face to face with a new king. But the new problems and the new king not make us forget our old counselor, monarch, and he will allow me to say, comrade.
Yeah.
My friends, my words will find an echo in all your hearts when I conclude by saying that whatsoever king shall reign,
You'll be the vicar of Brayto.
Shame! Behave yourself.
He has a perfect right to speak. You are a parcel of sentimental fools.
Silence! Order!
Sorry.
So you ought to be. Where's your manners? Where's your education? King Magnus, we part. But we part as strong men part, as friends. The Prime Minister has correctly represented the sentiments of all the men present. I call upon them to express these sentiments in the good old English fashion. For he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow. Stop! Stop!
I thank you with all my heart. But there is a misapprehension. This is to be no leave-taking. I have no intention of withdrawing from an active part in politics.
What?
You have looked on me with a concern that has touched me deeply as a man with a political past. I prefer to look upon myself as a man with a political future. I have not told you my plans.
What plans? But a retired king can't have plans and a future.
Why not? I look forward to a most enjoyable and exciting time. As I shall, of course, dissolve Parliament, the fun will begin with a general election.
But I've only just been elected. Do you mean I've got to stand 2 elections in 1 month? Have you thought of the expenses?
But surely your expenses will be paid by the state.
Paid by the state? Is that all you know about electioneering in England?
You'll get your whack out of party funds, Bill, and if you can't find the extras, you must put up with straight votes. Go on, sir. I want to hear more about these plans of yours.
My last act of royal authority will be to divest myself of all dignities and titles. In this way, I can step down at once into the ranks of the commoners.
Step up, you mean? The common man is a superior, not the inferior of the titled man.
But this is why I shall make myself a commoner, Mr. Boanerges.
It does you honor.
Well, not everyone will be capable of a sacrifice like that.
It's a fine gesture, sir. A fine gesture, I admit it.
And since when, pray, has your Majesty taken to making gestures? What's the game this time?
Shame.
Oh, shut up, you Gabby. I say, what's the game?
There is no imposing on you, Prime Minister. The game is, of course, that when I come back into politics, I shall be in a better position to do so as a commoner than as a peer. I shall seek a parliamentary seat.
You in the House of Commons?
I intend to offer myself to the Royal Borough of Windsor as a candidate in the forthcoming general election.
But this is treachery.
A dirty trick! The meanest on record!
He'll be top of the poll.
There won't be any poll. It'll be a walkover.
This shows what all your fine manners and friendly ways are worth.
Hypocrite! Humbug!
I wish you every success, sir.
Here. Fair play, boys. Why shouldn't he come into Parliament with us?
Well said, well said. Why not? And when you are in Parliament, what then?
Well, naturally, I shall attempt to form a party. My son, King Robert, will have to call upon some party leader who can depend on the support of the House of Commons to form a government. Perhaps he will call upon you. Perhaps he will call upon me. Whatever happens, it will be a great relief to us all to be able to say exactly what we think of each other in public at last. You have never been able to tell the British people what you really think of me. No real criticism of the king is possible. I have never been able to speak my mind as to your various characters and capacities. All that reserve, that tedious affectation, that unwholesome concealment will end. I hope you look forward to our new footing as pleasurably as I do.
I am delighted, sir. You will fight breakages for me.
Well, Prime Minister, we are waiting for you. What do you say about it all? Has Your Majesty got the ultimatum on you? There's not going to be any abdication. There's not going to be any general election. There's not going to be any ultimatum. We go on as before. The crisis is a washout. I shall never forgive you for this. Because you stole your ace of trumps from the hand I played this morning.
That was a very deplorable example of bad temper on the part of the Prime Minister. It was not the gesture of a strong man. I will remonstrate with him. You can depend on me.
Well, I shall not say what I think.
So I have not upset the apple cart after all, Mr. Knickerbocker.
You can upset it as soon as you like, for all I care. I'm going out of politics. Politics is a mug's game.
If Nick goes, I suppose I'd better go too.
Can you really bear to tear yourself away from politics?
Only too glad to be rid of them, if breakages will let me. They shut me into it. No doubt they'll find another job for me.
Well, I am glad nothing's happened. You know, sir, nothing ever really does happen in the cabinet. Never mind their bit of temper. They'll feed out of your hand tomorrow.
Now that they've all gone, I don't mind saying that if anything should happen to the throne, and if Your Majesty should become president with a cabinet to pick, you might easily find a worse Home Secretary than me. With all my faults.
I shall bear it in mind. Oh, by the way, if you should happen to overtake the Prime Minister on your way out, would you remind him that we quite forgot to settle that little matter of the proposal of America to annex the British Empire?
By the Lord, so we did. Oh, well, that's a good one.
They don't take it in, Lizzie. Not one bit. It's as though another planet were crashing into us. The kingdom and the power and the glory shall pass away from us at last and leave us naked, face to face with our real selves.
So much the better. If by our real selves you mean the old English stock that was unlike any other. Nowadays, men all over the world are as much alike as hotel dinners. It's no use pretending that the America of George Washington is going to swallow up the England of Queen Anne. The America of George Washington is as dead as Queen Anne. What they call an American is only a wop pretending to be a Pilgrim Father. He's no more Uncle Jonathan than you are John Bull.
We live in a world of wops, all melting into one another. And when all the frontiers are down, London may be outvoted by Tennessee.
Never fear, sir. It is not the most ignorant national crowd that will come out on top, but the best power station. If you can't do without power stations, you can't run them on patriotic songs and hatred of the foreigner and guff and bugaboo, that you can run nationalism on nothing else. But I'm heartbroken that you're not coming to the House with us to keep old England in front and to lead a new party against breakages.
Ah, that would have been splendid, wouldn't it? But I'm too old-fashioned. This is a farce that younger men must finish.
Come home with me, dear. I'll sing to you till you can't help laughing. Come.
Now, Magnus, it's time to dress for dinner.
Oh, not now. I've got something very big to think about. I don't want any dinner.
No dinner? Did anyone ever hear of such a thing? No, you will not sleep if you think after 7 o'clock.
Really, Jemima?
Now, don't be naughty. I mustn't be late for dinner. Come on, like a good little boy.